Hi, so we have Module 3, Lesson 10. So our lesson for today is very similar to yesterday's, where we were adding fractions, but you had to make like units first. You had to have common denominators in order to add the pieces, in order to add the numerators. So today, our problems look a little bit differently. Today we're adding fractions that will have a sum more than 2, greater than 2 wholes. So our answers will always be more than 2 wholes for this assignment. So for all of these problems, your answer will be more than 2 wholes. So there's only one step we're going to add to this from what we did yesterday. You're going to have one more step, and it's going to be the first step, okay? So let's look at problem number 1, A through F. So it says add. So let's go ahead and add. So A says 2 1/4 plus 1 1/5. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add our wholes first, and then write our equation as the whole, adding, and then the fractions adding, okay? So we have 2 plus 1, 2 wholes plus 1 whole, which equals 3 wholes. So now we have 3 wholes plus our fractions in groups. So 1/4 plus 1/5. Just like that, okay? So for your first blank on this problem, you should have 3 wholes. And then that 3 wholes is going to follow along in each step. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Until we get to our final answer. So now our next part, so we have 3 wholes plus 1/4 plus 1/5. But we need to make our common units now, okay? So now we need to make our our denominators the same. So we're going to do that by multiplying by the opposite denominator. So 4, we're going to multiply it by 5. And what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. And then 5, we're going to multiply it by 4. And what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. And then we're going to find our equivalent fractions, okay? So now we still have 3 wholes plus 2 fractions that will have common units. So 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So 5/20ths for the first one. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 4/20ths for the second one. Now we have common units. Now we can go ahead and add our fractions, and don't forget to leave in your whole as well. So equals, so we still have 3 wholes, and now we can add 5 pieces plus 4 pieces, which equals 9 pieces, and our denominators are 20ths. So here's our final answer, 3 and 9/20ths, okay? So there's problem A. Problem B, I want you to do that one on your own. Same exact steps, okay? So I'm going to go on C. So now we have 1 1/5 plus 2 1/3 equals blank. So like I said before, we're going to add one extra step. So first we're going to add our wholes. So 1 whole plus 2 wholes. 1 plus 2 is 3. So that first blank right there should be 3. And now we have our group of 1/5 plus 1/3 in parentheses, okay? So now in order to do 1/5 plus 1/3, we need to find our common units. So now in the next part, we're going to rewrite our equation. So still 3 wholes plus, except now we're also going to plug in what we need to multiply by in order to make common units, in order to make common denominators. So we're just going to multiply by the opposite denominator. So 5, we're going to multiply it by 3. And what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. And 3, we're going to multiply by 5. And what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Okay, now we have our expressions for how we're going to find our common units. Now we can multiply. So now we would have equals 3 wholes plus 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 3/15 for the first equivalent fraction, plus 1 times 5, 5. 3 times 5, 15. Oops. 5/15 for our second equivalent fraction. Sorry, that looks sloppy. Let me rewrite it. There we go. Okay, so now we have 3/15 plus 5/15. Now we can add. So we still have 3 wholes, and then 3 pieces plus 5 pieces equals 8 pieces, and then 15ths, 8/15. So 3 wholes and 8/15. Okay, same steps, okay? Every single time we're using the same steps, the same orders. So now for D, I want you to do that one on your own using the same steps. First, add your wholes, equivalent fractions, add them, final answer. Okay, next one, E. Let me turn this down a little bit. Look, there's Spider-Man. So now we have E, 3 wholes and 1/3 plus 4 wholes and 5/7. Okay, so first let's add our wholes. So 3 wholes plus 4 wholes. So that would give us 7. So that's your first answer in that first blank. And now we have our grouping symbol, parentheses, 1/3 plus 5/7 parentheses. Okay, so now we need to rewrite our fractions for what we're going to multiply it by in order to have common units, because our denominators are different. We have 3 and 7. So we would have equals, we still have 7 plus, okay, so now let's add in the fractions. So we have 1/3, 5/7. So in order to make thirds equivalent to a common denominator, we're going to multiply it by the opposite denominator, which is 7. So 3 times 7, and what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. And then we have 7ths times 3. And what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Okay, so now we have our expressions. Let's solve those in order to find our equivalent fractions. So now we have 7 wholes plus 1 times 7 is 7. 3 times 7 is 21 plus, so we have 7 21s, and then 5 times 3 is 15, and 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, so now we have 7 wholes plus 7 21s plus 15 21s. Now we have common units. Our denominators are the same. Our pieces are the same. Our sizes are the same. So now we can add 7 pieces plus 15 pieces. So let's write that down here. So 7 wholes, and so 15 plus 7 equals 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 pieces, and then it's out of 21s. So we have 7 and 22 21s. You can leave your answer just like that on the ClassClick assignment. You won't lose any points for not rewriting it. You can just leave it just like that, okay? And that's our final answer. So for F, you're going to do the same steps as well. Okay, so everything I did for A, C, and E, you also need to write in your, type into your ClassClick assignment. And then you're using the same steps, the same video for help for you to complete B, D, and F, okay? Awesome job. Go ahead and get started.